Blackstraction is a term that I created in the year 2000. I decided I would join the word black to abstraction and to define it as a way of making art. I wanted to give homage to the artists that I was influenced by, people like Sam Gilliam or Jack Whitten or Elizabeth Murray. You know, these are people who actually played with what the painting would actually look like, from the image to the actual shape and size and how you actually approached painting itself. I also wanted to make it a confrontational term because black artists are so regulated to identity. Even back then, I wanted to force the art world to look at Blackstraction as something beyond black as it has been defined for the art world before. That's why Blackstraction is defined as a way of working. It is the objectification of painting. Blackstraction is not black abstraction. It is the objectification of painting, an emotive, non-representational work of art stressing formal internal relationships using African American Asian art practices, at times employing craft techniques and three-dimensional presentation. Okay? That's a definition about working in the studio. Where I am with Blackstraction after this 20 years of trying to have my word accepted into the lexicon, I've decided that I'm going to create a timeline. I'm going to go through, you know, the annals of art history, and I'm going to identify how the word became a term. We're going to look at how the painting is made, meaning, are we pouring paint, are we staining, are we stitching, are we collaging, are we weaving? Then we're going to question how the painting is being presented. What is it being presented on? Is it canvas? Is it some alternative material? Is it found? Is it draped? Is it stitched? You know, is it just kind of like thrown down to be its presentation, because the three-dimensionality counts. Then we're going to look at how the painting is actually put together. The reason that I'm doing the timeline is because people haven't started using my word, and I want people to use my word. The timeline is to give agency to artists who change the way that we make and present objects. I think that as the art world evolves, it becomes farther and farther away from the traditional way that we work. Okay, painting and drawing, it just is relegated to also an kind of an uninteresting kind of point where we don't even understand what's happening on the inside of the canvas, which is what Blackstraction is all about. I think that it takes art outside of the identity factor, which I think is very important for Black Americans, for Black artists, period, because our work is about more than our existence as Black people. We're going to be identifying different artists. Like here, we might go back to Jackson Pollock because he's the one who actually started pouring paint. We might look at somebody like Frank Smith, who stitched, okay, part of the Afro-Cobra school, and what the painting is made of, alternatives to canvas. We go to people like Noah Purfoy, who recuperated that wood in Watts, because all of that influences how people work, and that's what Blackstraction is about, how people work in the studio. When I celebrated the 10-year anniversary of Blackstraction, that's when I decided the objectification of painting was the primary definition. And as I've been working on the timeline thus far, I also realized that I was handicapping myself because all the techniques and things that I found in Blackstraction also happen in figurative and representational work. So the difference of how these things are applied in abstraction is what makes it Blackstraction, right? So I'm altering the definition one last time. And what we have now is the objectification of abstract painting. Because I think that that's definitive, because it does indicate the change that happens when people look at work from a different perspective. Of course, you know, everything in art is all about opinion, and that's where we are. It's an opinion. And I think that at this stage of the game, it's important that we offer alternative ways of looking at art history. So this is the 20-year anniversary of Blackstraction. I hope that in the next 20 years, that if I'm standing here talking about it, I will be looking in a dictionary and reading the definition from there. We are in the middle of the postmodern era. Everything is art. And we keep going further and further and further into meaninglessness. And for me, the whole idea of Blackstraction is bringing meaning to abstract painting.